So today we will going to okay. So today actually we're going to learn. My voice is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
So our today's topic will be uses of dihydrogen. Then we will learn about hydrides. Okay. So our today's first topic is uses. First we will learn uses of dihydrogen. Uses of dihydrogen, right? So what is the formula for dihydrogen? You know, just a second. What is the formula for dihydrogen? You know, that is H2. Let's see what are the uses. So the first use, okay. So the first use is it is used as rocket fuel because of its high calorific value. Okay, dihydrogen is hugely used as a rocket fuel because of its high calorific value. Can anyone explain me what is the meaning of calorific value? What is the meaning of calorific value? Anyone have any idea, boys? Calorific value means what? No one? What is the meaning of calorific value? Calorific value actually, when we burn a liquid, when I burn a substance, suppose 1 kg of any fuel I'm burning, the amount of heat energy it produces, okay, that is actually known as calorific value. So as we know that hydrogen are highly explosive, okay, so that's why it have very high calorific value. So because of its high calorific value, it is used as a rocket fuel. Okay, now next, oxyhydrogen blowtorch is used for cutting and welding purpose and uses dihydrogen and pure oxygen. The preparation, the reaction produces the temperature up to see 4000 Kelvin. It produces 4000 Kelvin. So to prepare the blowtorch, okay, hydrogen has been used. Next, dihydrogen is also used in the synthesis of ammonia by Haber process. In our previous class, we have learned about it, about the Haber process, how ammonia has been produced by the dihydrogen. Okay, so dihydrogen is widely used in the synthesis of ammonia by Haber process to manufacture nitric acid and nitrogenous fertilizers. Okay, now fourth is dihydrogen is used in the manufacture of vanaspati or ghee. That means from saturated oil to unsaturated oil. Okay, from saturated oil to unsaturated oil. So, and last one is commercially it is used in the preparation of hydrogen chloride. See, HCl has been widely used in industries. Okay, HCl has been widely used in industries, and as it is widely used in industries, okay, so that's why for the preparation of hydrogen chloride, dihydrogen has been widely used. One more use are there. You can see it is used in the manufacture of bulk organic compounds like methanol. Just a second. Okay, so it has been used in the production of methanol. How methanol has been produced? See, when carbon monoxide gas is react with hydrogen, that means dihydrogen, in the presence of catalyst, that is cobalt catalyst, so it produces methanol, CH3OH. It produces methanol. So for the production of methanol also, it has been widely used. Okay, for the production of methanol also, it has been widely used. And another is it is widely used in the manufacture of metal hydrides like MH. Suppose production of sodium hydride or production of magnesium hydride or production of calcium hydride. Okay, so for the formation of hydrides, this hydrogen has been widely used. Yes, boys, understood everyone? Any confusion? The uses of dihydrogen, any confusion?
Ma'am, how many uses we have to remember for the test?
See, in NCERT, many uses are there. So you just have to remember 5-6 uses you have to remember, not all. Okay, 5-6 uses you remember, that's enough. Clear? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, our
Yes.
next topic is, that is very, very important. Our next topic is, that is hydrides. Our next topic is hydrides. So what is hydrides actually? Okay. So dihydrogen, see, our next topic will be hydrides. Okay, hydrides. So dihydrogen under certain reaction condition. Okay, that means when a substance have to react with other substance, it have to maintain certain condition. So actually dihydrogen under certain reaction conditions combines with almost all the element. Okay, it combines mainly hydrogen, dihydrogen, H2. Mostly it combines with all the element. Mostly it combines with all the element except noble gases. Okay, mostly it's combined with all the elements except noble gases, because you know that noble gases are not reactive. Okay, noble gases are not reactive, so they does not combine with noble gases. So instead of noble gas, mostly it combines with all the elements and it forms binary compounds. It forms binary compounds, and that binary compounds are known as hydrides. See, dihydrogen combine almost all the elements except noble gases under suitable condition. That is important for the reaction. Okay, for any reaction, condition should be mentioned. Condition should be maintained. Okay, to form binary compounds called hydrides. Okay, now the formula of hydrides. The hydrides can be expressed by EHX. Okay, suppose E is the element, E is the symbol, E is the symbol of an element. Okay, E is the symbol of an element. Okay, so EHX, or H is obviously hydrogen, or EMHN. Okay, EMHN, like EHX, like MgH2, magnesium hydride. Okay, and like this one, it will be B2H6, diboron. Okay, boron hydride or diboron. It is known as, this is the magnesium hydride, you know, and this is diboron. Diboron or boron hydride. So mainly hydrogen, when reacts with most of the elements, it forms hydrides. And when they form hydrides, okay, when they form hydrides, two type of hydrides mainly they form. One is EXH type, EHX type, and another is EMHN type. One is MgH2, another is B2H6. Clear till this much? Till this much it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any confusion?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So next we will do the classification of hydrides. So next we will learn the classification of hydride. Classification of hydrides. Okay. So classification of hydrides, I'm going to the next page. It will be easy. So hydrides. Okay. Hydrides mainly divided into three parts. Sorry. Hydride mainly divided into three parts. Okay. The first one is ionic hydrides. Okay. Second one is covalent or molecular hydrides. Covalent or molecular hydrides. And third one is metallic or non-stoichiometric hydrides. Metallic or non-stoichiometric hydride. Ionic hydrides, covalent or molecular hydrides, metallic or non-stoichiometric hydrides. Clear? This is the main three, you can say, classification. Hydrides can be divided into three main parts. One is ionic hydrides, another is covalent or molecular hydrides, and another is metallic or non-stoichiometric hydrides. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, who are formed ionic hydrides? Now, next is who are forms ionic hydrides. So, ionic hydrides actually formed by S block elements. Okay. Ionic hydride is formed by S block elements. So, what are the S block elements? Group 1 and group 2. Sodium, potassium, rubium, cesium, francium, this, and another is magnesium, then calcium, then barium. So these are the S block elements. That means group 1A and group 2A, they are mainly forming ionic hydrides. Exceptions are also there. The exceptions are lithium hydride, barium hydride, and magnesium hydride. They are actually having, you can say, some covalent character in them. They are actually having some covalent character in them because of their size. Okay, we can say the lithium or beryllium, or you can say the magnesium, the size is so small. So that's why when they are forming a compound, they have covalent nature. So instead of that, others are all forms ionic hydrides. Understood? Now, clear this one? Yes? Yes or no? Tell me yes or
Yes,
no.
ma'am.
Okay. Now next is covalent or molecular hydrides. So who are formed covalent or molecular hydrides? So covalent or molecular hydrides formed by P block element. Okay, P block element, and non-stoichiometric hydrides are formed by non-stoichiometric hydride are formed by D F block element. Okay, So ionic hydrides are formed by S block elements. Covalent or molecular hydrides are formed by P block elements, and metallic and non-stoichiometric hydrides are formed by D and S block elements. So this is the main differences. Now this covalent or molecular hydrides can again divided into three main parts. Okay, can again divided into three main parts. Just a second. Okay, can again divided into three main parts. So one is electron deficient hydrides. Electron deficient hydrides. Okay, another is electron precise hydrides. And the third one is electron rich hydrides. Okay, so covalent or molecular hydrides can be again divided into three main parts: electron deficient hydrides, electron precise hydrides, and electron rich hydrides. So who are electron deficient hydrides? Electron deficient hydrides are formed by group 13 element. Okay, it is formed by group 13 elements. Example, B2H6. Why it is known as electron deficient? See, boron. Boron. So what is the electronic configuration for boron? Electronic configuration for boron. See, boron is 5. The electronic configuration is what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. So that means its valence contains 3 electrons. So in diboron, what is the structure of diboron? C. The structure of diboron is like this. This is the structure of diboron. Sorry. This is actually the structure of diboron. So that means here, see, if I consider boron is octet is not fulfilled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So octet is not fulfilled, but they are forming hydrides. So that's why they are electron deficient. Clear? Understood? That's why they are electron deficient, because their octet is not fulfilled when they form the hydrides. So that's why they are electron deficient. Okay. Now next one is electron precise hydride. Electron precise hydride are formed by group 14 elements. It is formed by group 14 elements. Like examples are like CH4. If we draw the structure, see, carbon's octet is fulfilled, hydrogen doublet is also fulfilled. So that means it is electron precise. The number of electrons it's required, it has. So the number of electrons it's required to complete its octet, it's have. That's why it is electron precise. And then another one is electron-rich hydrides. It is formed by group 15 to group 17 elements. Okay, that means from nitrogen, oxygen, and halogen group. Okay, nitrogen, oxygen, and halogen group are mainly from electron-rich hydrides like ammonia. Examples are like ammonia. Why this electron are rich? You can say if we saw the structure of ammonia, see, it have one lone pair. If we structure the water, see, it contain two lone pairs. So as they contain lone pairs, okay, so that means it have excess electron. It have excess electron. So as it have excess electrons, that's why it is known as electron-rich hydrides. Now tell me, these portions are clear or not? Hydride portions are clear or not? Tell me. These are the hydrides part. So that means hydrides can be divided into three main parts. One is ionic hydrides, another is covalent hydrides, and metallic hydrides. Okay, ionic hydride is formed by S block elements, except lithium hydride, beryllium hydride, and magnesium hydride. Okay, why lithium, beryllium, and magnesium hydrides are not formed ionic hydrides? Because they are generating some covalent character because of their size and charge on the central metal atom. That's why. The next one is covalent or molecular hydrides. It is formed by p-block elements. And the last one is metallic or non-stoichiometric hydrides. It is formed by d-block elements. Okay. Now, this covalent or molecular hydrides has been divided into again and three parts. One is electron deficient hydrides. It is formed by group 13 elements, just like diboron B2H6. Okay, why it is electron deficient? Because the central atom does not fulfill its octet. Okay, now next is electron precise hydrides. That means the hydrides are having exactly the number of electron it's required, not less, not more. That's why electron precise. It is formed by group 14 element, that is carbon group, carbon sulfur this group, carbon silicon this group. Sorry, and the next one is electron rich hydrides, so which are mainly contain lone pairs. Okay, it is not like that their octet is exceeding, no, but after the bonding also they are having free electrons. They have lone pairs, so that's why they are electron-rich hydrides. And it is formed by group 15, that is nitrogen group, group 16, that is oxygen group, and group 17, that is halogen group elements. Okay, clear till this much? Yes, boys, clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Any confusion?
No, ma'am.
See, so just here I've written all these things. See, so there are three types of hydrides depending on the behavior and nature of the bond formed between hydrogen and the element. And the type of ionic hydrides like salt hydrides, covalent or molecular hydrides, and metallic or non-stoichiometric hydrides. So what are ionic hydrides? See, what are ionic hydrides? Ionic or salt-like hydrides are binary compounds of hydrogen with S block element that are highly electropositive in nature. So we know that yes, S block element, that is sodium groups 1A and 2A, they are highly electropositive, yes. But compounds formed with lithium, beryllium, and magnesium exhibit higher covalent character. Now only I have told you. Okay, by the help of Hutton's rule, we can explain those things. Ionic hydrides like sodium hydride and calcium hydride are formed by the transfer of electron from metal atom to hydrogen ion. Yes, ionic hydride is formed by the transfer of electron only. Ionic hydrides are formed by transfer of electron only. Okay. Now next, ionic hydrides are crystalline solid Yes, all the ionic compounds are crystalline. So obviously ionic hydrides will be crystalline in solid state with high melting and boiling points. Okay, and in the molten state they conduct electricity, or on electrolysis liberate hydrogen gas at anode. We know that this is actually the properties of ionic compounds. These are actually the properties of ionic compounds. Next, ionic hydrides react vigorously with water to liberate dihydrogen gas. Yes, because ionic hydrides are very much reactive, okay, and they vigorously react with water. That means when they rapidly react with water. Okay, sodium hydroxide reacts with water to give sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. Next, ionic hydroxide decomposes into highly inflammable dihydrogen and undergo combustion when strongly heated in air. So these are the properties of ionic hydrides, and these are the things you have to remember. Calcium anhydride, when heated and 675 to 775 Kelvin, decomposes into calcium and dihydrogen. So 3 points are there. Lithium hydride is unreactive at moderate temperature with oxygen and chlorine gas, and hence is used in the synthesis of other useful hydrides such as lithium aluminum hydride and lithium boron hydride. Lithium aluminum hydride is a very powerful reducing agent. You will see it in organic. That is, lithium aluminum hydride is a very powerful reducing agent and used extensively in organic chemistry. When you learn the organic chemistry, you will understand the importance of lithium aluminum hydride. Okay, so this is the reaction, how lithium hydride reacts with aluminum chloride and form lithium aluminum hydride. So these are the properties of ionic hydrides. Now, covalent or molecular hydrides. Covalent or molecular hydrides are binary compounds of hydrogen with more electronegative elements such as p block elements. So in ionic hydrides, the hydrides are formed by electropositive elements. Here the hydrides are formed by electronegative elements. Okay, covalent hydrides further classified into 3 types depending on the nature of the electrons and bonds present in their Lewis structure. So they are electron deficient hydrides, electron precise, and electron rich. So electron deficient hydrides are formed by group 13 elements, and just like BH3 and ALAH3. Electron precise hydrides are formed by group 14 elements, and electron rich hydrides are formed by group 15, 16 elements. See here, the lone pairs are present, that's why they are electron rich. And due to the presence of excess lone pairs, these hydrides behave as Lewis base. So what is Lewis acid, Lewis base? We will learn when we learn the acid base chapter. And electron rich hydrides are poor conductor of electricity and are soluble in organic solvents. So that means they are having the properties of covalent compounds. And metallic hydrides. Okay, so these are binary compounds of hydrogen with d on a block element, except for chlorium in the group 6. Okay, chromium are forming CRH. Chromium forms CRH. Okay, the metals of group 6, 7, 8, and 9 do not form hydrides. Very thing to remember. Group 6, 7, 8, 9, they do not form hydrides. Okay, metallic hydrides are deficient in hydrogen, are almost always non-stoichiometric. Okay, the composition of these hydrides does not corresponding to simple whole number ratio. Like see, this one, they don't have a simple whole number ratio. They are their hydrides are like this. Okay, the composition of these hydrides do not correspond into simple whole number ratio and varies with the change in the temperature and pressure, and hence these hydrides are called non-stoichiometric hydrides. The property of absorption of hydrogen in transition metal is widely used in the catalytic reduction. We will learn the catalytic reduction in class, that is when we learn the hydrogen, when we learn the organic. And metallic hydrides are conductor of heat and electricity and are harder than parent metal. So metallic hydrides are very good conductor of heat and electricity, and they are harder than the parent metal. Okay, so non-stoichiometric hydrides means when they are not when they form the fractional hydrides and actually known as the non-stoichiometric hydrides. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.